The 2025 Rivian R1S is a great example of not judging a book by its cover, or an SUV. It might not look that much different from the vehicle that launched a few years ago, but the Rivian R1S and the R1T pickup that's built on the same platform have been thoroughly re-engineered for 2025. Their bodies are largely the same, but what makes them tick and move has changed a lot. Today we're focusing on the R1S, which is available in a variety of dual, tri, and quad motor trims, all of which feature electric motors that were engineered by Rivian itself, and both more efficient and powerful than the ones they replace. R1S prices start at $75,900 for a dual motor with a standard battery pack and 270 miles of range, while a dual motor with a large pack and 330 miles of range is $82,900. But this dual motor max pack has 410 miles of range and starts at $89,900. The tri-motor is $105,900 and has 321 miles of range, while the quad motor hasn't been priced yet. And don't forget to add the $1,800 destination fee to all those prices. Deliveries of the quad motor are going to start early next year with an amazing 1,025 horsepower, while the tri-motor has 850 horsepower, but the dual motor is no slouch. Base version has 533 horsepower, and this performance model 665, plus 829 pound-feet of torque that helps this accelerate to 60 miles an hour in 3.4 seconds. And this is a mid-size 3-row SUV, weighs about 7,000 pounds. But it is a little lighter than last year because the electronic system has been changed. It used to have 17 ECUs, now it has 7. 1.6 miles of wiring has been removed, that's 44 pounds. And the battery pack has been redesigned to drop 55 pounds. Unfortunately, only the dual motor with the large pack currently qualifies for any federal electric car vehicle purchase tax credits, which happens to be $3,750 for this. There's an $80,000 MSRP cap on that, plus sourcing requirements for the battery that not all the models meet. Although the full $7,500 credit does apply to leases. A couple of changes on the outside this does get are new matrix headlights that can adjust their beam when cars are approaching, and this neat hazard light setup where you can use the LED bars in the front and rear of the vehicle to help direct traffic. All of the R1S's ride on adjustable air springs that can raise it to give it 15 inches of ground clearance for off-roading, or 7.9 on the highway. And it'll even go lower than that to help you get in. The interior hasn't changed much either. Still has a very premium feel that's appropriate to the R1S's price point and is very roomy, both in the front row and the second row where it's 6'1". I have no problem fitting behind the front seat set for me. I even fit in the third row, although I do have to scooch that second row forward a little bit to do so. Rivian did change the infotainment system. It's more powerful, runs on the Unreal Engine, and while it doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto smartphone integration, it does have Spotify, Apple Music, and Google Cast, plus built-in navigation. Also doesn't have satellite or AM radio, and I do wish it had that Apple CarPlay and Android Auto smartphone integration. They just make things a lot easier. Touchscreen is also used for pretty much everything, including adjusting the front air vents, while the mirrors and the steering wheel itself are adjusted with these knobs on the wheel. The tailgate has a top section that opens independently of this bottom section that you can leave in place to create a bin or drop to use as a seat and to load things in. There's also some storage under the floor. And of course, this still has a 9.9 cubic foot frunk with underfloor storage as well. This doesn't have the optional $3,700 all-terrain package that includes all-terrain tires, extra underbody shielding, an air compressor, and a compact spare, which is a bummer because I'd really love to take this for some serious off-roading. I've driven other R1s in extreme terrain and they've been pretty good. This one promises to be even better, but with the 22-inch wheels and all-season mud and snow tires this has, gonna have to take it a little easy today. One of the main focuses of this update was improving the ride quality, which in the last generation oddly wasn't as good as the R1T pickup. Usually it's the other way around when an SUV and a pickup share the same platform. It was a little stiff, a little jarring, but that's all been ironed out. This one's great on pavement and unpavement. It's also quick on both. Ugh, maybe too quick. If you're into towing, you are going to want to go with the R1T because it has a maximum rating of 1,100 pounds, while the R1S is available with up to 7,700 pounds. And I suppose the max battery pack would be a good choice if you're going to be doing that, because the range is going to drop way off with a trailer, and start with 410 miles isn't a bad thing. If you are taking a long trip, charging this got a little bit easier because Rivians are now compatible with the Tesla supercharging network. The 2025 models still need an adapter, but future ones will be getting the Tesla style NACS plug. Maximum charging speed for the Max Pack is 220 kilowatts, so figure about 30 to 40 minutes charging it to 80%. As far as the competition is concerned, Rivian was very smart when it launched because it came out with a vehicle nobody else was making, a mid-size off-road electric truck. And it still really doesn't have any competition. You've got the GMC Hummer EV, which is much larger and more expensive, starts around 100 grand. And Mercedes is gonna have an electric G-Class pretty soon, but that's gonna cost more like 170 grand. And even if you're looking for a 3-row electric SUV, primarily for on-road use, still not a lot of competition there either. In fact, the only one you can buy right now is the Kia EV9, but that's only available with up to 304 miles of range. You have to get a rear-wheel drive version, which costs about 60 grand. While an all-wheel drive model with an extended range battery pack that can go 280 miles between charges costs about 65 grand. And while that has 379 horsepower, it doesn't have this much horsepower. Another one of the high-tech upgrades this gets is Rivian's autonomy platform, which now uses 11 cameras and 5 radars to enable advanced driver assist features like lane centering, adaptive cruise control. This will also afford a pretty outstanding 43.2 inches of water in its high suspension setting. You know what, I gotta go ahead and try this on some rocks at least. This isn't exactly hardcore, but it is steeper than it looks, and absolutely no problem for this. But I'm gonna have to get those all-terrain tires and armor someday and see what this can really do. I did have 2 very software-defined vehicle issues with this while I've been testing it. One day the air conditioner didn't want to work, and the other day I went into a safe power mode telling me there was something wrong with the air suspension system. But as with most computers, all I had to do was reboot it. And to do that, you press this button all the way on the left of the steering wheel and the hazard button up on the ceiling, hold them for a couple of seconds, and it'll reboot. Worked every time. I am a big fan of this. Anyone who liked the old one is gonna love it. But there are 3 things about this that I think still need a little polish. First of all is the steering, which is very responsive, which is normally a good thing, but in this case makes it a little twitchy, particularly out on the highway. It's less of an issue on a road like this. The accelerator pedal, not the gas pedal, remember, the accelerator pedal is also a bit too firmly sprung. And I know that probably sounds weird. It sounds weird to me, but it's something that's never bothered me in a vehicle before. So I think there's something to it. Just a bit of a workout using the thing. And finally, there's the lane centering adaptive cruise control, which isn't quite dialed all the way in. It drifts a little bit in the lane, even crosses the line sometimes when you're going around curves. And it can be a little jerky when it's adjusting its speed to the vehicle in front of it. This seems like easy stuff to fix with the software update. Of course, if Rivian ever does that, you'll never know anything's changed by looking at the vehicle, which seems to be how they like it.